Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to today's podcast, Discover Your Soul. I started this podcast is a few years ago when I was traveling in the how do I say this? Okay, so I started this podcast a few years ago when I was traveling around the world. I was interviewed all of the people from different countries, different race, and different age. I ask a same question: what does happiness mean to you? I ask this question to help people to slow down what they are doing. And also, I would like to invite you to ask that question to yourself. What does happiness mean to you? Maybe that's raising the awareness to yourself, what you've been doing. Are you doing things make you happy, or you doing things because you used to do? So it's all about the awareness of the life we are living. I hope this podcast can bring more joy to your life and more awareness what you are doing. I would like to welcome my amazing guest, Theresa. Oh, she's an amazing lady. I would like to let her introduce herself to you guys, what she's doing. Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you, Riya.
Thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit more about you, who you are, and what is your passion about it? Then,
absolutely. Thank you so much, Riya, for including me on your guest list on your wonderful podcast. As you know, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I'm so thrilled that we were able to meet and connect online, because the online world and online connecting is a real thing, right? I am so grateful to have met you. I am focused. I work with women and fitness, and when I met you, Riya, it was so apparent how our modalities complement each other and how well we can work together. And so it's another reason I'm excited about this. I come to this wellness work through movement, self-care through diet and exercise, and searching through our mindset and tuning in to our hearts and minds. And I love the sound healing and the work that you do, because it really accentuates that kind of work. So I'm excited to be here and to do another project with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Theresa. Thank you. That is beautiful things you do. That's why you look so beautiful, because you're all tuning in with your mind, body, soul, right?
That's important.
I think the things we're doing, I think every day we're living our life. Sometimes we especially women, I think from myself points, always sometimes it's so hard on myself, want to promote the things like perfectly when we go out, when we're doing things. But the things sometimes never go to complete perfectly. I always joke, not a joke, later on I always tell myself, that is meant to be imperfect, perfectly.
Yeah, imperfectly perfect. That's it. That's life. And, you know, in the fitness world and the diet world, we tend to be very regimented and you have to do it this way. You have to do it perfectly. If you don't do it right, you know, it's a lot of this all or nothing. And some of the common ground that we share is that inner looking, that looking within, to see where we are, tuning in and noticing, what is it I'm feeling? What is it that I really need? because we get caught up in all of that noise, right? We get caught up in all of that noise, the magazines, the shoulds, the woulds, the neighbors, the gym memberships. So absolutely tuning in to notice what we need today. And if today what we need to do is rest, listening to that and honoring it and caring for ourselves in a way that allows us to care, to honor that. And it's that, oh, I could go into one of my favorite subjects about, but I don't want to derail you. If I could just comment very quickly on it though. A lot of times we make excuses also. We go to the other end of the spectrum, right? And we say, oh, self-care. So I'm just going to do all these things that are bad for me because this is my self-care. This is what I like, right? And I just want to take a moment and emphasize that tuning into our intuition and understanding what our body needs is very different from doing things that are bad for us, right? So I just wanted to qualify that while we were talking about it, because I think it's important. It's something that we don't talk about enough. But anyway.
Yes, I think self-care can be very bigger the subject, because sometimes we know what is self-care, where benefits to us, like, have a personal trainer to training our body with the professional suggestions, knowing how do we do, instead of with doing by ourselves, we don't know, maybe injured ourselves or something. Absolutely. Then self-care, maybe say the quiet place, then meditating, then to turning in, to calm down. So really think about raising your awareness, what it is, then self-love. So all of this. But sometimes it's tricky about that self-care. I think sometimes we can be like some food, maybe it's not benefits us, but that I will be given excuse, like you said, oh, I just want to take care of myself to eat anything I want to eat today. Even that is maybe it's garbage food, or with the food make me feel yucky later on.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
How do we avoid that, honey? How do we avoid, if we are in that, how do identity, when we do into the self-care mood, how do we identity really that is self-care? Then we are not follow to the excuse to find that is the excuse, not the self-care.
Yeah, it's tricky, and it's going to be different for everyone, simply because we all have different needs. But I can talk about my story as an example to kind of highlight a general rule. So when I embarked on health and wellness, it was something that I did later in life. I was never athletic in school. I was never into health and fitness until I had a terrible weight gain because of pregnancy and hormonal issues that I'd had, and lost pregnancies and all of that kind of stuff. And for me, the presenting problem was I need to lose weight, but I don't diet and I don't like to exercise. So what can I do that will be acceptable to me? Where can I start? And spoiler alert, the moral of the story was small steps. So for me, I knew that on the one hand, I really liked my chocolate. On the other hand, I really liked certain foods like cheeseburgers and ketchup and fries. And I realized that it was easier for me to give up the fast food. And I negotiated and said I was going to have a little bit of chocolate, and it was going to be dark chocolate. And what happened there was a few things. One, I realized that I didn't really like cheeseburgers as much as I thought I did. I was equally happy with a veggie patty. And for me, it was about the ketchup, mustard, and the pickles. in that combination. So it was an easy loss, right? Then what I realized was as I was eating healthier, what I desired as a cheat was not the same thing as I would have desired previously. So it does take some patience. And I would say, give up some things, but not all of the things, and create your own path so that when you do cheat, maybe it's a glass of wine or maybe it's a cupcake, it's not going to have that much of an effect on you because you are at least 80% of the time on track. And if you have that cupcake, you're going to have a healthier version of it. It's either going to be homemade, it won't have dyes, it won't have too much sugar. It will be because your taste buds no longer need to have the artificial foods. I look at artificial foods and I just shudder. I don't even crave them. And I used to love a lot of the junk food. So as we change and we no longer have that hunger, it's not so hard to stay healthy and to make healthier decisions, even when we're cheating. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? So that was my personal experience. I've shared it with a bunch of clients over the years, and it works. It works. You start on your path where it feels right, and you listen to your body, you listen to your needs, and just one step at a time. Otherwise, it's like, buoys? Do you know what a buoy is? A buoy is that thing at the beach, in the ocean that they put to that floats on top of the water like a balloon. Mm-hmm. So for me, when we force ourselves to do something, it's like we're trying to push that underwater. How long can you hold it before it pops back up again, right? It's going to come back up. So you have to create situations where you're not just forcing things. Force is not. Discipline is okay. Forcing, not so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that tips and your stories with us. I think it's we body used to, if we're training our body, so start at the beginning when you feed in the body with the healthy food, then your body changing, so it doesn't craving that oily and heavy things anymore. But if you continue eat that, probably your body used to that. So it's all about my side, I guess, right? So I'm still, my favorite thing is I still love the French fry. Once in a while, I will be love to get very good crispy French fry. But I know I don't eat that every day, so I eat that maybe once a month. That I still satisfied myself that I still can enjoy something maybe not really healthy, but it's okay to eat. Yeah. I guess that is imperfect, the perfect. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And here's another thing. You can get pre-sliced organic shoestring fries, and you can drizzle them in some oil or some coconut oil, and you can put them in the convection oven, and they'll taste nice and crispy like they're fried, except they're organic potatoes. You know what kind of oil they have. It's still fast food, but it's not so bad as the deep fryers in a restaurant. You know what I mean? So you can still have some cake.
Wow, now make me hungry, think about food. Okay, we need to move on, not think about the food anymore.
Okay, all right. No more food, no more fries.
No more food, no more fries. We talk about the, so today's interview, I would like to ask you the same questions like I ask many people. The fascinating to me, each time I ask the person, that I never got the same answers. So the question, I think, about the happiness is come from how do you grow up, how do you believe, how do you value in your life, and how do you make that to feel with your life. So today I'd like to ask you that question is, what does happiness meaning to you, honey? And also the next question is together, the question is, what do you think between the happiness and the joy? Are they different or they are same?
I love those questions. Okay. So for me, just repeat the first part of the question, just so I phrase the answer right. I have the answer. Actually, I'll start backwards. So the difference between happiness and joy is joy for me is internal. It comes from within. It's something that I feel organically. Happiness is something it often comes from the outside. It's something that you see a flower, I feel happiness. I can also feel joy. I can become aware of my joyfulness, but it's really that something on the outside makes me happy, and something from within is joy. And then for me, what I find makes me happy or brings me joy, was that how you phrased the question?
Yes.
Is a calm. Calm. And I center through my calm to listen. It could be a sunrise or a sunset. It could be pausing for a breath through my day. It could be 5 minutes of stretching and noticing my posture and where I'm holding tension in my body. Finding that calm centers me and helps me tune in to my feelings. And that's my doorway to joy. So
let me recap that. So happiness and joy for you is just they are connected. So like you said, maybe happiness when you find, like you see, I see this sunflower, I feel so happy. So then the joy maybe is the happiness take a little bit more deeper than from the joy, the moment, the feelings come from inside that operate with the joy. Just kind of like when I was yesterday morning sitting in my yard, suddenly have the birds coming singing in there. I was with my breakfast. I feel such joy at that moment.
Yes.
So that evolving happiness and joy they mix together. Is that what do you mean?
Well, sort of, kind of. So joy is what I feel when I'm in that state of calm, or I feel connected, or I feel like I'm really connected with a friend, with somebody I care deeply about, or with something, or doing work that I feel passionate about. Happiness is what I feel when I see those flowers, or if my child is happy, or if I get a phone call. Now, all of that can lead to tapping into my inner joy. So for me, happiness, they're interconnected, but happiness comes from the outside, joy comes from the inside.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Theresa. So what does happiness mean to you?
Happiness.
What do you do? I think you already said that, kind of like already answered the question. Not ask you to say the second again. So I would like to ask the people who's listening or who's watch this podcast. I want you to ask yourself, what does happiness mean to you? And what is your definition of happiness and joy? Are they same or they are different? with you. And if you like, please make a comment there, then to tell us what is that to you. Thank you. Thank you, Theresa. So I would like that we move on to next questions. So your happiness and the joy is really clear. Explain. I think I can feel that in my heart vibrate. So I would like to ask you another question. Then go through all of this challenge you have in your life, your experience. What that defines you overcome to your life today, who you are today.
So for me, a big one has been courage. Courage. For a long time, I considered courage and confidence to be the same thing, but they're not. And when I realized that I can be imperfect and not critical with myself, I can be courageous and I can be vulnerable, that helped me put one step before the other in every challenging situation that has come up in my life. So it would be the aspect of courage. It is something I tap into as a parent. It is something I tapped into as somebody who felt trapped in my own body because of sudden weight gain. And that courage led me to inspiration, to joyful work, connection with people, and connection to doing work that has meaning for me. So I would say it's courage.
That's beautiful. I have a new, I think you give me some new thoughts to think about the courage. Before, when I hear about the courage, when I'm doing something about the courage, I would think that is courage to go out, to inspiration, courage to doing something amazing, fascinating, a courage to step out. Now I want to think about really courage is to be vulnerable, courage to showing the vulnerable, courage to accept myself, I'm not perfect, courage to just like, courage to accept my mistake.
Yeah, and to recognize that we're not perfect, and when we're tuning into our heart and our intention, we can give it a first, second, third, 12th try and get it right, because we're coming from the right place, because we're the judges as to whether or not we're going to get it right. Mm-hmm. It's what we're looking to accomplish. I'm not talking about winning a gold medal in an Olympic sport just because we have the intention to. I'm talking about really coming at our obstacles in life from a place of courage and vulnerability, as opposed to, you better be courageous, you know. That's very popular right now because it sells, you know. It's the quick, if I only am tough and I'm courageous that way. But that's not what it's about. It's recognizing our humanity, being showing self-compassion, and having the courage to forge ahead based on our intentions. If you had said to me, Riya, Theresa, you need to lose weight, it wouldn't have happened for me. I had to tune into my own needs. Why did I want to lose weight? Not because Riya said so or because the magazine said so, because I needed it. For me, it was tuning in with my mission, with my purpose, what kind of a mom I wanted to be, how I want to age, how I want my body to be taken care of. And then it came naturally.
Is that mean also the courage to accept myself, the courage to accept who I am? And even like we said, lose weight or not lose weight, I think it's just accept what I want living with my life. That is the courage. So it's not follow with people anybody say I should lose weight, I don't have to lose weight. Whatever they say, if I'm comfortable with myself, then I have courage to accept the way I live in myself. Is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So important. And here's an example that comes to mind. When I first got into fitness, actually, I made some progress with my fitness, and I got really excited about running races and doing all this stuff, not winning them. I wasn't training that hard, but I really wanted to run a race, do a triathlon, do things like that, kind of to prove to myself. And then one day I just kind of stopped and I thought, okay, I don't need to do that anymore because that's not really who I am. It was fun. I climbed my Everest and that's enough. I don't need to keep doing it, right? And I then accepted myself the way I was. Like, I wasn't only successful in my health journey if I continued to do all the races. It was okay for me to stop and then listen to my body and take care of my body, still take care of my body, but I didn't have to have that standard, right? That was from maybe the outside or me proving something to myself, things like that. So self-acceptance, yes, this is where I am now, and I'm accepting myself, not I'm accepting myself and I'm just going to not take care of myself, right? It's that fine line again.
Yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what is the superpower you overcome in your life? If you share that with other people who's listening there, what is the superpower they can help them to get in that, to help their life?
Superpower. I don't know. I think it's really hard to think of ourselves as having a superpower. For me, if I had to call it a superpower, it would be the willingness to accept that personal development is an ongoing, lifelong journey. And as coaches, we are simply helping others with the parts that we may be ahead on. So I can have a client, for example, who is an engineer or who is an inventor or who is a doctor. They're very talented and very far ahead of me on that. But I can coach them on what I have focused my time on developing. So I think understanding that we are all a work in progress has really helped me, because in the beginning I felt like, who am I to coach? I don't know everything. And I think we all experience that. We all don't know everything. And that's where we can collaborate. That's where we can keep growing. That's where we can keep doing our own work and checking in with others, coaching, being coached, helped. And in some way, we form circles that way where we're all holding hands and we're all helping each other. And what a beautiful world it is if we're happy and healthy together, right? We're helping each other up. So for me, my superpower, long answer, is understanding that we are all a work in progress and being patient with myself, that it's okay for me to keep growing, and that's normal.
That is beautiful. I think we all have our own unique, as you said. Then that unique, then we keep growing, then we keep learning, then keep sharing. That is our superpower, right?
Yeah.
Growing. Wow, that is really beautiful. Thank you, honey. So my last question is, So I always ask my guests to bring the 3 words to give the people who's listening here or who's watching here, that 3 words they can repeat. They can use that as tips to remind themselves, then to benefit they living forward with their life. What are the 3 words as the gift you will give us?
3 words as a gift. Well, it's really hard to do only 3, but I will try. So first one is self-compassion. And I tune into self-compassion or to compassion. Sometimes self-compassion doesn't feel right. I tune into compassion through misting my plants, actually, with a mister, with a spray bottle. I feel actively like I'm giving them compassion, and it makes me feel more compassionate towards myself. But it can be anything. I came up with that because that's what felt right for me. The next one I would say is my favorite, courage, that peace with vulnerability. And when we are compassionate towards ourselves and we understand ourselves as vulnerable and we have courage, every small step can help us in the way that we need on our journey. And that leads me to my 3rd word, which is clarity. Because when we have compassion for ourselves and we open our hearts and we are courageous enough to look in and tune in to what's in our hearts, we start to tap into clarity. And that's something we're all seeking. And clarity is just calming, isn't it? See how I snuck another one in there? For me, when I have clarity and understanding, it's so calming for me also. So that's why I went with clarity.
That's
I cheated a little bit.
I see. So compassion, courage, and clarity.
Clarity. Yes.
Wow. That is beautiful. So I hope all of you got use that word, the 3 words in your life, then that can help you to bring more meaningful in your life. And before we close that, I have one question come out. Just it's a kind of like question. Maybe it's not just I want you to share with that from my personal experience, because I know you are the wonderful, amazing personal fitness, coach. You training people. So for me, I found out that it's really difficult to continue with the training, personal training, because I've been in my life, past life, a few years, I've been hired so many different personal trainer. So then I have like a training for a few months, then I off. Then little bit I find out, I need a training again. So I training for a few months again, then I off. So that question is, do we need always have a personal trainer there, or we have to take some break, then go back again? What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. The quick answer to that question is no, you do not always need a personal trainer. It's good to check in with a personal trainer for a couple of reasons. One reason is that a personal trainer can do certain assessments on you to see where your body needs to be more properly aligned or where you may have weakness, because our muscles have to work in synergy. Okay. So in order for me to do this, okay, this area has to stretch. Well, it's not really muscles, but it's tendons, but I can't show you bigger muscles right now. So this area has to stretch and this area has to contract, right? So when when our posture is off, especially if we've been sitting a lot, think about all the zigzags that we do there. If we have a lot of sedentary work, even though you may have been very fit at one point, if you go back to what you were doing in fitness, you can injure yourself. So a personal trainer will look at your posture and can tell what muscles need to be strengthened and what kind of stretching to do so that you are properly aligned, so that you don't hurt yourself, and so that you also work properly to get faster results, which everybody likes. So there are some key essential components there to having, at least checking in with a trainer. Now, even though I am a personal trainer and I'm a corrective exercise specialist, I've never actually hung out in a gym working with people. I've always worked one-on-one with clients. And my big thing is I blend it with a modality that's a type of mindfulness, where we get into the why of exercise as much as the how. And I think when we work through why we need it and what we're working on, remember that buoy that I was talking about, we stop having this pressure. So a lot of people feel pressured with gym memberships or with unrealistic goals, frankly. And those unrealistic goals can cause injuries and burdens. So a lot of the work that I do with people has to do with understanding and the tuning into their minds and hearts and understanding their where they're coming from and setting realistic goals. And then they do a lot of the work by themselves. So now when they do a lot of the work by themselves, they still may want to go to a yoga class. They still may want to go to a Pilates class. They still may want to go to the gym, or they may have an online fitness program or equipment at home that they want to use. They don't need me there for that. But I can also make suggestions for them as to what would be helpful if they want weight loss as a goal or muscle building, and why. That's the key, why. So yeah, I hope that was a bit of a long answer, but I hope that explains a little bit. Now, if you want to train for something specific, I'd say absolutely get a coach for a few months if you want to run a race or do something like that, at least to learn how to train properly so you don't get injured. But
thank you. I think that's, yes, I think I do feel better when I'm training with my personal trainer. So as you said, I think that is the special, professional, what they do, what they learn. So that helped me a lot. Thank you for sharing this. And I know you're also working on your book, talking about how to teaching, how to coaching people. Can you tell me a little bit? We have maybe a few minutes left. So can you tell me a little bit about your book? What is the name of your book? And also, if everyone wants to contact with Theresa, later on, Theresa have her information posted on there. So what is your book, honey?
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, Riya, this is the first announcement that I'm making about my book. It is almost ready. It's The Path to Heart-Centered Wellness. And in The Path to Heart-Centered Wellness, it's a workbook where I offer guided essentials and actual activities to do. So that's the basic description of the book, but it's The Path to Heart-Centered Wellness. It should be coming out in the fall. And I'm really excited about it. I've been working on this baby for a while. So thank you for bringing it up, and thank you for the opportunity to share it.
I can't wait to read that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you for being here today. And thank you, everyone, to watch this and listen this. If you would like to come join me to my podcast, Monday Discover Your Soul, please email me. So you can find my email, my information on my page. So here we are shared in this in this. So thank you, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you, Theresa, to be here with me. Thank you, everybody. I see you next Monday.